Standards and expectations are two different things. Let me talk first about standards. Standards are like, again, with our must haves, would like to have. We all have a concept of who we want to be with and who would be a good partner for us. And yes, I think we should keep our standards high. We don't want to miss out good people, though. So, what are we using to cut people out? That's really what I kind of really delve into in my coaching program and with my private clients is to make sure you're not cutting out really appropriate people for one reason or another. So, what are your standards? Maybe you're college educated and you want to have another person who's college educated or more. So, in that sense, yes, you do want to keep your standards high. Yes, there are some very educated people who haven't finished college. Are you open to that? What is education to you? What's the value around that for you? So there's the standards, in a sense, and we have a vision of where we should live and who we should be with and how we should spend our time. So that's one thing. But expectations are a little bit different. And expectations is where I think a lot of people, when they start dating, kind of get really messed up. And so you really have to clear about your expectations. And so are they aligned? Again, expectations have to do with how someone might treat you or what they may be doing with their free time. And you may be saying, well, I really don't like the fact that they spend all their time cataloging these books, which I had a client do. And the woman was like, why is he spending his time doing that? But that's not her issue. It's really about, she had things she liked to do with her time, and he has times that he likes to do with his time. And it turned out they worked things out and they ended up getting married. So there's just expectations about children and how to raise children and how many to have. And I have a whole list. I have about a dozen areas of expectations that you find that people get really tripped up about. And so, it's helpful to know, financial expectations. Does the guy always pay or does the women pay just as much? And when do you make that decision? I had a female client who was really kind of like upset. She said, well, we go out to dinner. He pays for dinner. We go back to my house and then we watch TV. And she goes, why don't we do anything more? She was curious and he was a perfect gentleman. I just have to say it wasn't all about the sex. So, and so she did ask him, and I knew that she had a value about equal partnership. And I said to her, and I said, well, so she asked him, why don't we do more? And he said, if you contribute more, we can do more. And they had the same kind of jobs with the same kind of salaries. They were a young couple in their early 30s. And so she had to make a decision. Did she want to be treated, like the stereotypical, the man pays? Or did she want an equal partnership? And I really kind of called her on that. And she decided to go with the equal partnership. And so she did participate on the financial end. They did go out, they started doing more stuff and, and that relationship moved forward, very nicely. So there's always like a decision making point in a relationship, and I call them relationship snags. And how you get through those snags really determines whether or not your relationship is going to go forward or not at all. And so to be aware of them and to be, real conscious about the choices you're making is really, as a coach, what I help my clients do. So expectations, just think about, what expectations did you bring into your last relationship and what tripped you up? And you'll find out some really good information through that. So that's the difference.